This is part 3 of reviewing the Engineer Resumes Wiki, which, again, I like most all of it. There was one thing I really didn't like in the last one, but it's still heads and tails about like most everything else. Work experience or simply experience, not professional. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if any of those matter, but this still works. Like, I don't think it really matters which one of these you use. They're all equivalent to me, but only include paid work experience in this section. Yeah, I would say to do that. Indicate internships or internships and contract. Yeah, you want to clearly indicate those. Those are good. You want to make sure they're contracts or contracts and internships or internships. I disagree with this part, which is tailor your resume to each application. I don't think you would be able to do that in a way without being driven insane. I think it is very critical to tailor your resume for each job family or niche of job family, but not each and every job description, because you will go insane. Like, if you're applying for a Java engineer, that should be different than possibly a Python engineer. But beyond that, you don't have to do it for each and every Java engineer position. I think everybody should have about like 2 to 3 resumes and then just interchangeably use those. Simply listing position project and adding some buzzwords is not enough. You need to tell your managers what you did and how to solve problems. Ish. I think they get to the point, but I think they have the wrong equation with that one, essentially. You don't need... You do want the buzzwords, but you want to make sure that you show how you use the skills. But solving problems, I think people believe is going to be like, you made the company a bajillion and $2. Like, no. You just need to say, like, you know what? If you clean... Let's say you spilled orange juice on the carpet. You would say... gathered cleaning supplies such as bleach, paper towels, and gloves, applied them to the site of the spill, and removed the orange juice from the carpet using those tools. Like, that is a good sentence. And yeah, it's how you basically cleaned up an orange juice spill, which I realize you probably shouldn't use bleach for that. That's probably a bad idea. But that is how you would write those things. And that's the kind of problems that they may have. Not every problem to a business is business critical. Sometimes it's basic, but they still need you to solve it. And you just want to show how you used it, even if it's not business critical. Because I'll tell you, most of the non-business critical stuff is, I think, what gets people jobs. It's rare you're going to have that, like, everything's on fire and you alone is going to fix it. Most of the time, it's square peg and square hole. So, let's see. Add context. Yep. Differentiate yourself and don't be humble. Simply listing job duties will not make your resume any different. Your resume is not your job description. You kind of want to write it like a job description, honestly. Like half of it, at least. Tell us about your accomplishments, tangible metrics, and technical victories. I think it puts too much emphasis on how much you stand out, how great you are. Not everything needs to be that. Really, you only need a couple, 1 or 2 bullets of how good you did. And sometimes, even if you don't have, like, a brag bullet, you still can get the job. It's just to show... You want to make sure you show the skills. Avoid sending your skills around a piece of software if you can. Any idiot can learn how to sketch, extrude, and cut and make in SolidWorks, but having capabilities at gaps, creating preliminary design, and taking it through the rest of the design process. Something fewer people can do, so try to focus on the engineering skills behind it. CAD and other software should be an oh, by the way. I disagree. Plenty of people will get hired just by putting CAD and how they use CAD. And I think this goes back into the myth of how job seekers believe they need to stand out. Because if you believe that you need to stand out, this is correct. But that's not the case. You don't need to believe you stand out. You need to show that you can do the position. And if the position is 80% working with CAD or SolidWorks or Java or JavaScript, then You need to have bullet points that just show how you day-to-day worked with that. The random, boring day-to-day stuff gets people jobs. Yeah, you do want a brag or two because the managers will like it, but you don't need to fill the whole thing with it. Most of it should just be X, Y, and Z. I did it. So I disagree with this. Pro tip, engineers love it if you did hand calc sanity checks instead of just hitting the run button. That may be, this is too technical for me. I've never heard a manager mention it, but that is because there's no way in hell they would ever mention that to me. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm going to assume it is. Use bullet points, not paragraphs, yes. Although your bullet points don't have to be one line. They can be a line or two. That's fine. If you're just graduating, focus more on showing a mastery of fundamentals, engineer skill first, then worry about project. Yeah. Not only are management lead very different, but no department in the right name would have a grad student run a project and hold a basic conversation. Yeah, I think they buried the lead in this. I think they're 100% right, is that most of the things that get interns and entry-level people jobs is showing a very, very basic knowledge of the skill, along with how you interacted with people and how you took direction. Those are huge. A lot of entry-level positions don't get entry-level interviews because they don't show that they are able to take criticism or work well with others, and that is key. So many people lose out on that interview because they spent so much time honing the technical skills they forgot the social aspects. Bullet points, objectives, highlight the technical work you did. Yeah, highlight the technical challenges. Kind of, I guess that's what's okay. Highlight the impact of your work. Yeah, but not every bullet needs to do this. Number 1 is fine for most of them. Bullet points 1, 2 should be 1 to 2 lines long. I disagree with this one. I think you can have 3-line bullet points or more. They're fine. Ideally, not everyone is 3 lines, but you don't need to entirely go for 1 line. Bullet points should be in order from the most relevant, impressive to least. Some managers only have time to read the first. I feel like they're a little okay. What is impressive to a candidate is not necessarily impressive to a manager. So you do want your most important things up top, but those are going to be more of the skills and how you use the skills, rather than necessarily all of your technical accomplishments. Now, if you do have a brag, it should probably be in the 2nd line to 3rd, but it's more important to put the keywords. And my view is the very first bullet should be a summary of what you did, so that somebody that is non-technical can understand. Don't use personal pronouns. I guess. I don't know. I think that's okay to use those. Don't end bullet points with periods. If you're going to end them with periods, they all have to be ended with periods. Otherwise, leave them open. It's just, you got to keep the form, whichever one you choose. Don't spill bullet points into the following lines with only 1 to 4 words in it. I guess. Don't allow words to wrap to the next line and get hyphenated. Yeah, that looks weird. Avoid the excessive use of sub-bullets. Do not have sub-bullets. You do not, as they say here, just don't. I think this, instead of avoid the excess, should just be don't use sub-bullets. Avoid using apostrophes and ampersands and slashes. Avoid the excessive use of adjectives and adverbs. Adverbs, excellent, innovative. Yeah, 100%. These are, I hate these in resumes. They don't tell me anything about it. They are just a waste of space. 100% correct on adjectives and adverbs should not be there. Use digits instead of spelling out numbers. That can work too. Action verbs. Each bullet should begin with a strong past tense action verb. Led, yeah. Analyzed, architected. No, I agree with that. Aided, assisted, coded. Yeah, these are not good ones. Gained experience, helped, participated. Yeah. Don't use the verb utilize. Yeah, I agree with that. Superfluous, unnecessary, complex verbs. Yeah. Basically, you don't want to read it like you're trying to sound impressive. You want to do it like a form. Like, you wouldn't go to the DMV and be like, I superfluously and gained experience writing this document, and I optimized it. Like, no, I wrote down what I needed to in the document. Amplified, conceptualized, honed, mastered. Yeah, these are correct. Well, they are bad, which is what the wiki is telling you. So each bullet point should follow a star, XYZ, or car. I don't agree with this. I think instead it needs to show the skill, how you use the skill, and the result. So it should be skill plus how plus result. And sometimes they will end up being situation, task, action, but not always. And the order doesn't matter with those. It's just as long as you show the skill, you show how you used it, and you show the result of it. Even if it's just like, took an orange off the counter using my ambidextrous hand and took a bite, which resulted in me not feeling hungry. So I think these are missing the point a bit. Like, they're not bad, I think they're good, but I think ideally you need to show the skill, how, and the result. Let's see. Trouble with content. Did I solve a problem? How did I work in a team independently? Yeah, this is correct. How many people were on my team? Yeah, these are good. How did I do it? What I did? Why did I do it that way? Did I use some tools? This needs to be probably highlighted, is because the tools are critically important. I've been able to get people jobs regardless of everything else just because they put tools. The tools you use are critically important to you getting a job. I'm going to say it again. The tools you use are critically important to you getting a job. Crazy. If you're a nurse, if you're an engineer, if you're a recruiter, you need to put the tools. Absolutely. Did I deliver my project on time and under budget? Yep, that's a good one. Was I successful? Did it actually work? What went wrong? Did I learn? At the start of every project, you and the task lead sat down and established goals you want. Did you exceed? Yeah, this is nice. I think, again, this is good for brags, but not everything needs to be a brag. Why integration matters. Don't throw parts list in a reader. Wow, the formatting of this changed too, which I think is funny. Like, now it's just talking to us, which I actually like. I like it more when it's talking to us. So, don't throw a parts list at the readers, and more how you integrate it. Counterpoint, no. Parts lists matter. I'm not saying, yeah, I made a machine that did X, but just telling the reader your widget uses a Raspberry Pi and stepper motor to do task. I disagree. I think if this is a perfect way to write how you used a tool, is, used a Raspberry Pi and stepper motor to do X. That is perfect. That is a great tool bullet point that you need. Now, you don't want to put every tool. It's just going to be the ones in the job description. But this is how you write that, so I disagree with that. Handling sensitive content. How are you talking about RAM, information? Yeah, this is basically, so there's a long-running thing of people say, what did you do at your last job? And they say, I can't, I'm under an NDA. And I've never heard of that working in real life. Because even when you're under an NDA, you can still talk about the broad strokes. Like, you wouldn't say, I worked on the super secret government project X, where I did an integral project, but you would say, I used, C++ to develop a testing software for one of our machines, which resulted in X. I mean, you don't want to break the NDA, but you can say stuff on an NDA without breaking it. So, I've never heard of that working in real life. I really want to meet a manager who actually said they said that, and you're like, okay, cool. So, let's see. I think that's good for this break part. So.